Turfway Park on Saturday in the $250,000 Bourbonette Oaks. 3-year-olds going a mile and a 16th on the synthetic surface. Mike, let's take a peek at this field, and it is a big field. The morning line favorite, however, Sandstone, the number 8, has some questions she must answer. Not only will this be her first start over a synthetic surface, but she hasn't raced since November.
Yeah, there are things working against her. She's a very logical horse in here, Dan, I guess, just based on the 2 wins last October at Churchill. I mean, those were pretty impressive performances, but it's not like there aren't questions here surrounding a horse who's the morning line favorite.
She has speed, and Timeform US expects her to make the lead with a good break, and she should show fresh early speed. It'll be interesting to see how fast they go in the early stages of this race. Sandstone, the 8, is fast. The 9, Champagne Poetry, is quick out of the stalls. The 11, Katish, just went gate to wire in a slower paced race at Gulfstream. I agree with Timeform. If Sandstone breaks, she can make the front.
I think she can too, but I also think this pace could be solid. So, being on the lead in this race might not be much of an advantage.
A horse that could be coming from off the pace is the number 1. That's Red Hot Mama. And we have seen good turf form successfully transfer to synthetic. Red Hot Mama didn't do much on dirt as a 2-year-old, but trainer Dallas Stewart stretched her out, switched her to turf for 2 races on the fairgrounds. You have to note the dramatic improvement.
Yeah, really improved a lot on the turf. I like both of those races, in fact. I don't like to generalize as far as the surfaces go and say that just because she's good on turf, she's going to be good on synthetic as well. On the other hand, she's 30-1 on the morning line, and I feel like it's, reasonable to expect her to maybe transfer her form to this surface from a great post on the inside.
She is a half-sister to a winner on a synthetic surface. Her sire Cupid's gotten off to a very fast start from a limited number of synthetic runners, winning at about 26%. Let's Be Clear is the number 2. This really was stakes placed in an off-turf race on dirt at Saratoga last year. Her seasonal debut off the layoff on synthetic at Turfway, Mike, I thought was really good. Didn't have a ton of pace, still ran him down in the stretch.
Yeah, she ran fine in that race. I feel like it was a step in the right direction anyway. I guess my biggest problems with her, Dan, are all of her good races are sprinting. I liked the first 2 starts of her career last year going short, and I liked that win last time. You mentioned the PG Johnson, a 4-horse field off the turf. She got beat by a very mediocre horse that day going 7. I'm not sure this horse is going to be as effective going longer.
The 3 is Tap Dancing Lady, a filly that earned a stakes placing over the Turfway Park Poly track in her most recent start on March the 5th. Now, she got a pretty decent field that day. The runner-up came back to win a stake at Turfway with an 88 Beyer speed figure. That was one of 2 next out winners to emerge from the race. Her start 2 starts back was okay. I think she needs to improve a bit.
Yeah, me too. I mean, her 2 races since they stretched out are fine, but they're not going to make her. I don't think they're going to make her that competitive in here, Dan. And boy, she's just a terrible price on the morning line, as far as I can tell.
Candy Raid, the number 4, likely overmatched last time out at almost triple-digit odds in the Grade 2 Rachel Alexandra. Her prior start in the Silver Bullet Day was a little bit better. She's going to try synthetic for the first time. Her sire, Candy Ride, they can do anything.
Yeah, she's got a very versatile pedigree, top and bottom. So it feels like she might be able to handle the surface switch. Another horse is going to be a big price that I could be interested in at some kind of a big number. Didn't run well last time. I thought she ran an underrated race 2 starts back in that Silver Bullet Day where she got blocked and shuffled a little bit and then rallied for 4th. And I liked her win prior to that also at Delta.
The 5 is Schlaf Mitz. This horse really improved, stretching out around 2 turns at Turfway Park, earning 2 victories. Now, she raced with Lasix in both of those races. Of course, she won't have the benefit of Lasix in this Kentucky Oaks prep. I think she took advantage of a pretty solid pace last time out. She's taken a big step up in class.
Yeah, I mean, listen, another horse is just going to be a big price if you want to, have a little bit of faith in her at some kind of huge number and hope that she can pick up some pieces here. I guess have at it. If nothing else, you have great connections in your corner.
Great connections, and she did win those 2 races very easily. She deserves a shot against these tougher horses, but they're tougher horses. Heavenly Hellos is up next, and she won last time out over the synthetic at Turfway going a mile. I liked her tactical speed. She got right up close to a moderate pace, moved when the jock pushed the button, and just was able to hold sway. Another one that needs a Beyer boost.
Yeah, and this pace feels like it's going to be a lot faster than that one. So that also works against her, Dan. She's got to improve a lot.
I think Mrs. Barber's a little bit of a sleeper for trainer Mark Cassie, Mike. She made her first and only start in 2022 in the Grade 3 Florida Oaks at Tampa Bay. There were some good turf horses in that race. There also was not a lot of pace on at all. They went 49 and change to the half, and she was near the back of the pack. All things considered, I thought it was a good start and probably a good setup race for this.
Yeah, I thought so too. Especially when you go back and watch the replay, Dan, because this horse could have been a lot closer to the pace. And for whatever reason, her rider just took her back. She actually wound up behind the eventual winner. And then all she could do was chase that horse home in the stretch. I thought she ran fine last time. And, her two races on the synthetic up there at Woodbine prior to that, those were good performances. She's a player in here.
Grade 3 winner over the Tapeta and the Mazarine in her final start at 2, and she might get a completely different pace scenario, one to her liking this time around with the last race under her girth. Sandstone is the number 8. She won the Rags to Riches 2 starts back at Churchill Downs. It was only a 4-horse field. She was able to get to the lead. The favorite Ujiri made a run at her on the turn. She shrugged Ujiri off. In the Golden Rod, she was odds on. Didn't break as sharply as she did in the Rags to Riches. Was on the chase that day, confronted Ujiri. A lot of folks thought she would run right by, kind of flattened out in the stretch.
Yeah, I thought she was relatively disappointing in that most recent start. I liked her 2 wins prior to that. Obviously, she has some talent, Dan, and she has some speed as well. Is she the horse to beat in here? I guess she is. There are enough questions for me to not want to take a short price on this horse. So we'll see how they wind up betting. If she's a clear-cut favorite in here, I'll try to beat her. But I won't be surprised if she runs well. She's got talent.
Despite being beaten as the odds-on favorite last time out, she still finished ahead of Secret Oath, who bounced out of that race to win 3 in a row and is likely to be the favorite against the boys in the Arkansas Derby. She's got synthetic pedigree. Streak sends 16% winners with synthetic routers. The Dams fold 2 synthetic winners as well. Champagne Poetry is up next. This horse is stretching out and switching from dirt, but a good effort last time out in New York, Mike, in the Ruthless. Let's watch that performance for this daughter of Carpe Diem, an 11% sire with synthetic routers. I thought Champagne Poetry got a really nice ride from Dylan Davis in this race. The pace was solid. She was able to save some ground. She gets to the outside and she keeps on trying.
Yeah, this is a tough beat for this horse. You're right that she got a good trip, but it felt like she was going to get there. She does eventually get by this horse on lead. She's just going to get nailed by the favorite on the wire. Tough beat here for a filly who's run well in all 3 of her starts so far. That includes her debut on the turf. Now she's just got to stretch out. If she can stretch out effectively, I feel like she can contend in here.
And the horse that beat her came back to run a very good race, a second in a stakes race in New York with an 81 Beyer speed figure. She's very lightly raced. She has a lot of upside potential. The number 10 is North County, and North County is getting some class relief to be sure. She exits the Grade 2 Rachel Alexandra. She was in against Hidden Connection that day, who came back to just missed in the Fairgrounds Oaks behind champion Echo Zulu with an 88 Beyer speed figure. You look at this pedigree, Mike, it's all synth.
Yeah, there's a lot of pedigree to handle this surface, which that's true. The Dam especially won the first 2 starts of her career on the synthetic up at Woodbine. Listen, the Rachel Alexander didn't work out. She didn't run great in there. She didn't run terribly either, but as you've already mentioned, it's a way tougher spot than this. I really liked her first 3 starts, Dan. I like her running style. She's got a lot of tactical speed. And I don't mind her switching surfaces here. She's bred to handle it. And overall, her turf win first time out might have been the most impressive race she's run. She really accelerated in that race.
So she's won on turf. She's won on wet dirt. She's a stakes winner on dirt. She's bred for synthetic. Lots to like, especially if you believe this pace is going to be fast. Oh, and she's trained by a fantastic horseman in Brendan Walsh. The 11 is Katish, coming off a maiden win over the new Tapeta surface at Gulfstream Park. Let's watch Katish, who just basically controlled this race from start to finish. There was not a lot of pace on it all. Louis Saez was able to back down the fractions. And at this point, the race is all but over. Not sure if this was a very strong group of fillies she was up against. I really respect the job her trainer, Jonathan Thomas, does.
I do too. And listen, maybe this is just simply a sign that she's getting good right now. The problem with, falling in love with her that I had anyway, Dan, is she just got absolutely loose in that race against what might not have been a very good field. I don't know. I don't think I could bet her back unless she was some kind of big price, and it doesn't feel like she's going to be a big price.
And while she has raced once at Turfway Park and the running line doesn't look very good, draw a line through that race. She missed the break completely. The
Mhm.
12 is Vergara, and Vergara's a lousy post position, but this is a filly that did some really nice things on turf at 2 for Graham Motion. She won her final 2 starts last year, including the Tepin, a race we're going to show you right now, going a mile and 15th on the inner turf at Aqueduct, and she showed really good tactical speed in this race. She stayed in the second flight. She professionally eased to the outside, and she was able to get it done over a decent field. The third place horse came back to run third in the grade 3. Here Comes the Bride at Gulfstream with an 83 buyer, and she's a half to a multiple stakes winning synthetic horse named Bullseye Beauty.
Yeah, there's pedigree to handle the supervision. The post is obviously a little bit of a problem, but she's good. I mean, she showed some real talent last year as a 2-year-old. And, you go back to the maiden win at Laurel Den, that was going 9 furlongs, and she just stayed and stayed and stayed that day. So if she has to lose some ground from that outside post, I don't think it's necessarily going to work against her.
I'm expecting her to just break and let these speeds go, try to get as close to the inside as possible and make one strong late run for the Top Graham Motion barn. Let's take a look at our top picks. And as you see, we're all over the place in this race. It is wide, wide open. I liked what I saw from Sandstone last year at 2. I think that there are a lot of question marks, and maybe she's an underlay in this race, but I also think she is the best speed and that she will get to the lead. I'm a little bit concerned, Mike. I didn't use your horse, the 10 North County. You made some very good points, and she's looked good in some of her races.
Yeah, we'll see what she does here. I actually went with the just trying to avoid the really short prices in here, Dan. I actually went with the 2 horses exiting the Rachel Alexandra, North County, and the 4, who's also out of that race and is going to be a big price, Candy Raid. We'll see. Obviously, North County is going to have to get some kind of a trip from post 10, but she's handy enough to do it, I think.
Curious to see how the 2 Let's Be Clear does stretching out. I am concerned about her getting more distance, but she certainly improved, I thought, her first race over a synthetic surface. 10-4, 12-7 for Mike, 8-2, 11-12 for me in the Bourbonette Oaks, Kentucky Oaks, points on the line on the Poly at Turfway on Saturday. Good luck.